You're watching The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV Angela Yee, Charlamagne the God. We are The Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building, Anderson .Paak.
Yes, Lord.
Yes,
We've been
welcome.
trying to get you up here because of this Oxnard
Y'all
album.
been trying? All right. I appreciate
Now,
it.
welcome to the show.
I feel good. It feels like I'm home, you know?
Album is out right now. Congratulations.
You heard it yet?
Now, you have a story on you.
He said you heard it
You
yet?
heard it yet, bro?
I've heard about 7 records.
Yeah?
I heard about 7
What
records.
you think?
I'm kind of, I don't want to say I'm an older head, see, but I enjoy the joints where like the beats kind of give me that Just Blaze and feeling when you rapping and then going back to the singing. So like the first joint I love, the second joint I love. There's a lot on it that I really enjoy.
That's what's up.
It's
I'm
a
like
vibe,
I'm like 7
by
in.
the way.
It's
You
a
said
whole
what?
vibe.
Yeah, it's a
Right.
whole vibe.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because
it's
you
his
can
vibe.
rap, you could sing, you could do it both. You know how some people, they're better at one thing than
Right.
the other? I feel like you could make the argument, like, I don't know if he's better at rapping or better at singing.
But you got a history on you. I've been doing my homework and I've been seeing all the trials and tribulations and everything that you've been through, and the fact that you are alive and still able to make music and be happy is amazing. For
Ain't it a
people that don't know, let's start off from the beginning. All right. Now you got into music from the church.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about that a little bit.
I wanted to play drums, and I started playing drums in 6th grade, and my god sister came through and was like, you need to go to the church. That's where all the best musicians are. So she took me to the black church, you know, in the town, and I was just like, whoa. And so I didn't just, you know, hop on the drums. I had to kind of just sit on the pew for a little bit, watch everybody else play. And then eventually, like when they was doing the offering, it was like, anybody here play drums? They looked at me and I was like, yeah, I could play a little bit. Hopped on the drums a little bit. They was like, hey, get your ass off the drums. So I hopped off. And then, you know, just watching. And then, you know, eventually they let me just, you know, play a little bit. But that's where I grew up playing, you know. And then every little drummer that came in, he used to show me a few things. But I grew up playing behind the choir, playing behind organists, choir directors. Speed up, slow down. Just having to watch everything. And that was like my whole foundation, playing in the church.
You ever got saved in church?
Yeah. I was like quick to get saved because I wasn't forced to go to church. Like my parents, my mom, her dad was a pastor. So she was always working. You know, my pops wasn't around. He was in prison. So when I got into music and I was going to church and playing, I was like, oh, I was hyped. Like I wanted to go every day because I just wanted to learn the music and be in the choir. And it was like where all my friends were. So when I was like 13 or something, I was like, oh man, I'm gonna go to hell if I don't get in this water, you know? And so I was just like stressing out. I was like, I don't want to go to hell. So I was like, I remember I went through this whole thing. I threw away all my CDs, Snoop Dogg, everything. I was like, no, I'm only listening to Fred Hammond, Kurt Franklin. I only listen to church music now. I'm gonna go get saved. So I went and got saved, you know what I'm saying? Got baptized. I was like 13 years old. You know what I'm saying? I was like a new man at that point.
Look at that. You threw away Snoop Dogg and end up with Dr.
Yup.
Dre.
Yeah.
And then with Dr. Dre.
God had a plan.
It's God's plan.
How could you not be mad at the system? You know, reading your story, your dad was locked up and did 15 years.
Yeah.
Your mom was locked up and they were giving her 14 years, but she served, what, 7?
Yep. 7 and a
Like, how
half.
could you not be, growing up, just not be mad at life as a kid?
I grew up thinking almost like that was just how it was, you know. My pops got put in when I was 7. And I knew numerous people around me that were going in and out of jail. I just thought that was a part of it.
Normal.
If I wasn't going to go, then somebody close with me was going to go. Or someone close with me was going to, you know, be in a gang or die from something. If it wasn't from that, then it'd be from bad health. So I just thought these were the things that were natural to like my family.
And what did your dad get locked up for?
He got locked up for a few things. He was, when I was 7, it was assault and battery on my mom and drug possession, weapon possession and everything.
And did you call the police when?
Yeah, me and my little sister would be in babysit. My god sister was in the house watching us, and then we went outside, and he was, you know, on my mom, blood everywhere, and he was just like, get back in the house. And we dipped and, you know, went to the neighbor's house, and that was the last time I saw him. So, yeah, you know, my god sister called the cops, and that was it.
Did that make you feel a way, like, did you feel like, damn, I put my dad in jail, or did you feel like I protected my mom?
No, I didn't even know what was going on. My parents, like, no matter what the drama was or anything, they kept that away from us. I literally thought everything was cool between my parents. I was only 7 years old, too. But my mom was always working. My pops was, you know, working. Or I thought he was working. And I didn't realize that he was going through drug addiction and he was going in and out of rehab. My mom was never bad-mouthing him. She was just like, he's just working. He's feeling sick, so he's gonna be away for a little bit. She was really trying to make it work until it couldn't work anymore. And so when he went away, I was just confused, like, what happened,
Everything was so good.
What's Pops? Like, I didn't even want to believe that was really happening. So, that's how I felt about it. And then when I seen what was going on, that's when I had the resentment towards him. Like, I could see that, he was trying to hurt my mom. So for a lot of years, I had that, like, in my heart, like, from, like, when I was 7 to, like, 20 something to before he died, I was, like, holding that, like, nah, man. And then after he got out, he did, like, 14 years for that, got out of prison, and there was still no contact. So I was like, he can't even hit me up. So I had, like, a real chip on my shoulder about that until eventually he was, hitting me up, and we got in contact. We started talking a little bit, but then, he died soon after that. But we got to talk, and I got to get it out.
Did you resent your mom for not telling you the truth, and you felt like, damn, you should have told me? I'm because every child or every boy looks at their dad as the hero, you know what I mean? And you're like, I'm looking at him as this, but he's not really that person.
Nah, I had a lot of respect for my mom, like, after that, because she just, I knew a lot of my friends' parents and that were separated, and the moms just couldn't stand the dad, and every time they spoke about the pops, he was no good, and
right.
a dirtbag, and that wasn't my mom's, and she had a lot of reasons to maybe say that, but she was never on his head about that. She was just like, your pops was really good dude, and the thing you got to watch out for is them drugs and substance abuse, because that was what changed him into a monster. But before that, he was the best man I knew.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, that was all, she would ever say about him. So
what
I didn't know
resentment.
resentment.
What kind of father are you?
What kind of father am me? I'm a working, I'm a hustling father, I just got to lead by example, My little son, I learned more from him than he probably learned from me,
How old is he?
He's 7.
7.
Oh, those kids are smart. Now he probably could do all kind of things and make an app for you.
Absolutely. He's like, here, Daddy, let me show you
He's
this.
selling your merch for you.
Yeah, I'm like, how you turn the TV? I want to just watch this thing. He showed me everything, just how to change channels on the TV.
You don't know how to change the channel?
It's tough, man. Dog,
now, come on,
am I the only? No, TV.
I ain't gonna lie,
TV
man,
weird now.
How do you not know how to change
TV weird
the
now.
channel?
Yeah, like how you just but he know all that stuff. Like, he bilingual. He don't curse. He don't do none of the stuff I was doing at his age. You know what I'm saying? He ain't trying to get into nothing. He'd be like, Mommy said I can't watch this. Like,
can he listen to your music?
Yeah. He'd be picking out singles
Even all the
and
skits
everything.
and everything?
Nah, he can't listen to that.
Not that to the skits, just the music.
He'll be the one to change it. Like if it has too much cursing or anything, he'd be like, Pops, this is not.
Like, That's
it's
too
too
much.
much. Yeah,
Right.
he a mama's boy.
Does he ask you questions about like some of the topics and things like that? Like, what does this mean?
Just some of the words. Yeah. What's a bag? And what's this? Yeah. Like, cause you see the thing, he's a mixed kid. So his mom is full Korean, and his pops is black. His pops is gone working all the time. So literally,
you talk about yourself in third person.
He definitely did.
Okay.
He did a little bit.
I'm gone. Because that's how you know I'll be away so much.
Like his dad is black.
I'm like,
well,
who
his
are
dad
you
is
talking
you.
about? Aren't you the dad?
I'm black.
But we get it.
Yeah, I'm also part Korean too, right? So, but he literally think he a little Korean kid. So I'll be out and tell him like, no, you black too. Like this Malcolm X. This all. When I come in, I'll be trying to school him to the different shit, Oh, stuff. Sorry. I don't know. Can we curse? We can curse.
Well,
right?
yeah,
kind
We'll
of.
bleep you out.
So yeah, he just, he getting hip to all the different things, and he likes to dance and stuff. But it's cool because he's really, really Korean. Like,
Then I was reading the story that as a kid you went through, it was hard, and then your mother got a come up.
Yeah.
And she was selling organic strawberries.
Yeah.
And it was a come up, and you guys mansion, TVs from coming up from the ground. How was living like? How was going from poverty and the church and everything that you've seen to now? It's almost like different strokes.
Yeah, I got used to just never getting too comfortable. Like, I got used to honestly just being ready to just switch it up, not getting too comfortable with things. And when you do have it, being happy about it. But when it ain't there, just be ready to switch it up and know that none of this stuff is permanent. That was how we came up. Like, we would go from literally 2-bedroom apartment, then she have a good season, and then we'd be like, all right, let's dip. We in the mansion now. We have leased out whips. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was never about getting too comfortable, and always ready to adjust. Accordingly.
And then it said the seasons happened, and then the crops went bad, and then it went back to being struggle again.
Yeah, my mom never worked for nobody. She was in the produce. She had her own produce business, and she was it was strawberries. And so when the season was good, it was good. It was plentiful. But if you had a couple of rainy seasons, it'd be all bad. And then it'd be like, we back on the oodles and noodles.
Now, what I didn't understand was, reading your story, and this would make me hate the system. So it says that, it went bad and your mom's owed people some money. So she was gambling in Vegas, paying people back. And then she got arrested for not reporting her gains.
Yeah, I think it's called security fraud.
Really?
Right.
But that much
illegally
time?
moving securities. So she got in over her head. You know what I'm saying? So she filed for bankruptcy, owed all this money, and then okay, cool. So you file for bankruptcy, but after that, there's rules. How you supposed to operate after filing for bankruptcy.
Mm-hmm.
Then she wasn't notifying the government about how much money she made. Then she was trying to pay people back under the table. People caught wind of that. The DA made a case. She didn't even know the DA was watching her like that. And in a city where there's nothing going on, that was their biggest, case. You got a black woman that's running things and doing her own thing, supporting her family, entrepreneur. And a lot of people were jealous, and they were like, oh, okay, you want to pay certain people back, you ain't going to pay us back. And they try to make an example of her.
That's crazy.
And they still do it. A lot of people get, these sentences that don't deserve it, and they got to do all this time. Some people did their time. They get caught up for a little thing, and then they got to go back for
right.
it. You know what I'm saying? So it's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Your life is kind of like a movie already.
It is a movie.
Yeah,
It's about
yeah.
to be?
Yeah, no, it's a movie. It's a good part right now, too.
Yeah,
I'm
it
liking
is.
it right now.
Now listen, and congratulations on the album. It was #1 on the indie charts, which is
Yeah.
huge.
I didn't even know we was still indie. That's what's up. Yes,
I
Lord.
didn't know.
You said you didn't know you were indie?
No, man, that was cool. I just saw, I was like, damn, I want to be, oh, shoot, we indie still? Okay, it's lit.
How does that work?
I guess because, Aftermath is already technically indie, you know what I'm saying? So they're no longer distributed by Interscope, they're now distributed by 12 Tone, correct? And so 12 Tone is brand new too. Shout out to 12 Tone, the big homies, Doug Morris. But I guess they're indie now too. There's no traditional big major label that's distributing the album.
So you found out when you saw the chart.
Yeah, well, I
I'm
just put it
indie.
together at that point. So I was like, oh, okay, bet. I like it.
And
Yeah.
you got Dr. Dre on the album. When is the last time besides his that we've heard a Dr. Dre guest verse somewhere?
Yeah, he don't do that too often.
He just do push-ups and sell
How
headphones.
long-
Exactly.
How long did that take to get? What was that process?
It didn't take long at all. I mean, honestly, that song that he's on was something that he had in the vault.
Oh, okay.
So we couldn't clear one song, and so I was
'Cause
stressed
it's
because
sample?
I really liked the song that we had, and I was like, damn, we can't use it. So I hit him. I was like, what's up with that one song that you play me randomly? Like, let me get that. And he wasn't on it yet. And he was like, when I first asked him, he was like, no, I want to hold that one, this and that.
Hold it for what? What
come on,
exactly
now.
music for?
Try and give me that. You
20
ain't know you
years.
damn well you gonna hold it for
What
what?
are you for?
He was like, the whole song just so he could play, just when
He's
you
playing
know.
for people around the house
Yeah.
for
Check
the
this out, man.
holidays. Let's listen to this.
And so then I hit him again, and he was like, all right, I was like, let's just replace this for this. So we started working on it, and I was writing my verse, and we worked on it all night, and then I came back to work on it again, and when I came back, he had already laid his verse, and I was like, oh,
Like, this don't
excuse
happen.
me,
Let me
Andre.
take that with me right now, just in case.
Like, you already laid the verse? Like, okay. Yeah, so he came back, had the verse laid and everything. He was feeling it, and that's rare too. Like, he's always like, is this cool? Is no? I'm like, this shit is heat.
You like, I
trust
love
me.
it. I
It's
love
cool.
it.
It's cool.
It's a dope song.
Yeah, it's good. It's like, and it was short and sweet. I felt like a lot of the songs on the album were kind of like long, 2 parts and all kinds of things, and I wanted a song that was kind of like short and sweet, make you want to repeat.
Yeah,
again.
you got our girl Sonya Elise on here.
Yeah.
too.
We got Sonya on the album. She been writing with me, and a lot of dope female writers on this album that I loved writing with. Coco's on the album too. She's
She
on
kills
the
it.
song.
Yeah, she killed it.
Listen,
lot of
I
New
have
York
to say,
vibes.
the guest appearances, sometimes I listen to people's albums and the guest appearances just feel like, oh, I got to get this person. But all of them were really great, verses.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes I hear guest appearances and it doesn't add,
Yeah.
I feel like, to certain songs. But I feel like with this, the Kendrick song.
Yeah.
that
Nobody
song
was like
goes.
phoning in verses.
Pusha T, my brother's keeper.
Pusha,
Mhm.
Q-Tip, even BJ did his thing.
Yes, I
like,
love BJ.
everybody was like going for the guts. Like, they wasn't playing around on
You have to
them.
change any of your stuff after?
Nah, I feel confident. You know what I'm
you was good.
saying?
You
You
Yeah.
know, some people, they hear the other person like, hold up, let me go
I
back
had
in.
all my stuff laid first too, so everybody was coming in, and I just felt like it just made for a good song whenever we was, you doing these features, I didn't felt like anybody's shine was taken away. It was just like, how can we make a good song? It wasn't about, oh, he killed you on your own shit or anything like that. It was like, did he get the point across of the song? Yeah, he did. And okay, this is a good song.
I was surprised you even started rapping. I'm reading your because like I said, we do our homework. They were paying you $150 an hour to work at a weed farm.
Yeah. That's $150 a pound.
Now think about that. $150 to work at a weed farm and you can smoke all day long and $150 an hour?
That's a dream
What
job.
made you leave that?
Exactly. I didn't want to leave. I got fired.
Oh, you got
I
fired.
had no
All right,
choice
now
but
it
to
makes
leave.
sense.
He's smoking
They said,
more than
get your
he-
ass out of here. We know you stealing. You got to get the hell up out of here.
Did you get fired for stealing?
I mean, they didn't say exactly that. They just stopped calling me. I was like, can I come through? It was nobody. Phone numbers changed, everything.
Damn.
So how was working on a weed farm? What did you have to do?
It was the hardest work of my life.
Really?
Yes. It was incredible. I was in there with the Mexicans, killing it. And it was like, there was, Mexicans in Mexico, there's all kinds of different countries and
Like
stuff, and
narcos.
different languages and stuff. So they was speaking like a whole different language. So it was like working with them, seeing their work ethic, waking up every morning. They in there like cheesing like 4 a.m. in the morning, having a good time, playing music, drinking. They chopping the plants up out of the ground, taking them out, planting them. Then you chop it, then you got to hang it. Then you got to, take them off when they hang, put them in the little paper bags, and you got to trim them. You got to do
It
all
is a
this
lot of
stuff,
work.
clean them, all this
And
different
everything got
things.
to be like the exact right temperature.
Yeah.
for
And
the
then,
crops.
man, it was so much work. It just before it gets to this little pretty bud that you smoke or whatever. It's like, and then I realized so many uses of the product too. Like you could do so much with the plant. Like it's incredible. Like I see why it's like so much controversy because I probably want to figure out how they can like control it. Because I mean, medicine, food, clothing, like you name it, you can do with that plant. So,
Are you investing in that industry at all?
yeah, I would like to invest eventually if I could stop smoking it.
That sounds perfect.
Yeah.
It's weird to me when people invest in the marijuana industry, but they don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people, I guess it's just, we do that a lot, like invest in things because we see that how profitable it can be.
Mhm.
But it would be a shame for you to
Yeah.
not get on that.
Yeah, I got a little knowledge of it. But yeah, I would definitely like to invest in some ways. It seems like it's getting a little flooded right now, but that's the next step for me, trying to make money in my sleep.
But there's still so much money to
It's
be
still
made.
a lot
And
of
it doesn't
money
have
to
to be like owning a dispensary or
Yeah.
being a grower. There's many other things, like you said, that, marketing for it, all kinds of things you could do.
put my face on a vape pen or
There
something.
you go.
Yeah. Do you smoke?
Barely. I'm not good at it.
Yeah.
I get too high too quick, and then yeah.
Paranoid.
I don't really get paranoid, though. I'm very good when I'm high at telling myself that I'm high.
Okay.
So I can
That's
talk
kind of
myself
paranoid.
out
So you
of
tell
feeling...
yourself you're high.
No,
I'm okay.
it's- I
That's
talk
what I'm saying.
myself
Okay.
out of
Everything's
being
gonna be all right.
paranoid because
Everything's
I'm
gonna be
like, girl, you just high. That's
Right.
That's
I
what
like
I tell
it.
myself.
I gotta take breaks though. That's the thing. Like I didn't really smoke before this album, and Dre, everybody stressing me out on this album, so I
Yeah,
started
you
smoking
smoke.
again and drinking. So now I gotta take a break again. Then I can appreciate. I can actually get high, get creative again. Now when I take a break, I smoke. I'll be like, ooh yeah, like we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. Get like in a creative zone again.
What about
Gotcha.
edibles?
That's the only drug, and I've done a lot of things in my life, right? But edibles the only drug that I felt like I was gonna die.
Really?
Yes. I had too much edibles and I thought I was going to die. I thought the world, everything, my heart was going to explode. And I was on a plane.
Oh,
It
that's
was all
terrible.
bad. Just tripping out in first class. White people looking at me like, what in the world is going on?
What did you
doing?
take? Yeah, what did you take?
I just took too much. I'll be like 25 grams, 50,
'Cause you don't
whatever.
feel it right away,
Yeah,
so
I'm like,
you
this
like-
is a little gummy bear, whatever. I'm going to go to sleep. And just tripping. I thought I was going to die, literally. I couldn't believe I was praying, if you just get me out of this, I swear I'll never get high again. One of those
And then
moments.
here you are high.
Hey, you are
again.
high again.
Smoking the next day and drinking. Let's get it.
That, you know what? I didn't really talk about this, but I had a bad edible experience just recently because I don't do edibles like
Where
that.
at? Nah, that's not the one you gave me, right?
No.
Oh. So she had a bad
You just got to
experience,
take
and
your
she gave
time
you
with
one.
them.
Yeah, I just gave him one. No, it wasn't that one. You know what? I think sometimes you also don't know how much is in it and you don't know how much to take.
That's what you got to pay attention to.
Yeah, I ate a little tiny watermelon gummy.
That's what it was.
That's what
gummy.
you had to
I had the
yeah.
whole thing. Probably had 2 of them.
It was small, so I took it, and then I ended up eating 8 donuts because I just got
Munchies.
ridiculously hungry.
It's the other reason why I can't be smoking like that. I'll go back to 250 pounds, I'll wake up with a double chin because I ate like 3 pizzas before I went to bed.
And then I fell asleep outside my room at the hotel because the key didn't work.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't walk back down to the front desk.
Never.
So you slept outside the room?
Well, fortunately, Paris was with me, and she went and got the key and made me get up.
That's your daughter?
Gracious.
My daughter?
Yeah.
No, she works with me, but kind of.
Okay,
Yeah, you met
let's
her
see.
at your listening that we had, and well, not we had, but I attended.
That's
in
right.
Atlanta.
That's right. Yep.
Now, Lovejoy.
Yeah.
Now, that was your name before Anderson .Paak. That was your rap name.
Breezy Lovejoy.
Now,
Yep.
where did you get Breezy Lovejoy? Why did you change it?
Well, I was a chubby kid growing up. I was just, concerned about just eating and just hanging out, playing video games. And my brother-in-law was like, man, you so chubby. And, man, when you fart, your farts is like a breeze, a gust of air. I'm going to call you Breezy.
Wow.
Call you Bubba Breezy. And that's what they just called me for years. And then so I was Breezy growing up. And then when I started writing music, making beats and stuff, I was coming into my artistry. I was like, I'm going to add Lovejoy because the girls going to like that.
They love my farts.
You know what I'm saying?
They love my farts.
I was just thinking it was going to be real smooth, so.
And now looking back.
Yeah, I had to switch it up. I remember my mentor at the time was like, are you really going to introduce yourself to Dr. Dre as Breezy Lovejoy? And I was like, what you mean? That's hard. Like, no, it's not. And I was like, dang, you got a point. So, yeah.
How
switched
hard was
up.
it for you to pick a single?
That was probably one of the toughest things. Because this album, we embraced a lot of different styles. Like, that was my whole thing. Like,
It's like G-Funk.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? You're right. Go ahead.
I have a lot of fun, with like the range and dynamic and doing different things. Like, that's my whole thing. And so with this album, we really embraced that. But then when it comes to picking a single, that's where it's tough because it's like, you're introducing yourself to a big demographic, and then you have also your fan base that's been with you for a while. So it's about like, catering to your audience, but not completely abandoning them, but you also want to take a risk. So it was like, what do we drop first? You know what I'm saying? So that was the only thing where we went back and forth because I was like, okay, we need the street buzz single. So, Bubbling was, that was that one. So I was like, okay, this one get them hyped. And the album was supposed to drop right after Bubbling, but obviously it didn't. Me and Dre was going back and forth with the album. But after that, the label and Dre were really hyped about dropping Left to Right. And I was like, I can't come out with the first single and I'm like speaking patois and everything. They're going to be on my head.
Right.
Yeah. So let's drop the joint with Kendrick. I think that's probably a good one to drop first, saying the West Coast joint, And that's the one everyone can get behind, and then we could do whatever we want after that. I don't care. And so we went back and forth with that. So, but eventually, I won that battle. So,
Right.
yeah, you just gotta fight for what you really want. Trust your gut.
Well, clearly you made a good decision.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like that one.
I'm looking forward to listening to the whole album. Like I said, I heard about 7 joints. And when I said, your story is amazing. You need to do a movie because this story, from everything that goes on, from jail to church to the weed farm, is definitely a movie. Definitely a movie. And how did you meet Dre? For people that don't know, how did you finally meet Dre?
He was working on Compton Project, and then I got called in to work on that project. And
How did he just heard of you?
He didn't know about me yet. So he was working with King Mez and JT. There was another dude over there named Drew at the time that was like playing music for everybody. Ty Cannon, the A&R over there. Everybody was trying to get him to listen to me. But the thing was with Dre, he might like something one day, next day he forget about it. You got to really stay in his ear with it. And honestly, it wasn't until I got into the studio with him that he really became a believer. So finally I got over there. I met him in the DOC the same day. It was like, chilling. And they were like, what's up? Nice to meet you. Okay, what's up? And then they went back to doing their thing. I went in the studio and met JT and Mez, and they was like, we really love your song Suede. And then they started playing the beats for Compton. I was like, oh, bet, let's get it. And then they were like, hold up, let's play Suede for him. And I was like, dang, you ain't played the song for him yet. I was nervous. I didn't know if you were going to kick me out. He came in and they listened to the song, and he just played it back like 3 times. And then he was like, yeah, let's work. And I got on the mic, started freestyling and stuff, and he was just loving it. And then we've just been working ever since.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you write for other people?
I do, yeah. But only when it's like fun and like it makes sense. I wrote for Christina's last album, a few other people, but I did that, coming up in the game. I don't know if it was necessarily for me. I feel like only for the people that can really pull it off. And if it doesn't feel like work, you
Right.
know. And a lot of artists, honestly, like they want people to kind of just be around and babysit and not necessarily like take directions from a writer. And so it's kind of tough, you know. So I'd rather just work on my stuff.
Is it hard when somebody gives you back their verse for your album? If say you don't like it, do you have to tell somebody? And did you have to do that on this album?
No, not on this album. Everybody killed it on this album.
Fortunately.
Yeah, yeah. And so, but you know, sometimes, you know, working with this album, I was working with Dre. He was like the main producer, so his ear and what he likes is a little different sometimes. And so he might not be feeling certain things, but he was feeling a lot of verses on here. But it didn't happen on this album, but it has happened before where maybe it was like, maybe this ain't the right thing for this. But sometimes we gonna make something else work. I'll take the acapella, put it on a different beat. We try something different, or you know, we save it for something else.
What
Now,
sample
what
was
about-
it that you couldn't get clear with Dr. Dre?
It was little things, like a lot of producers using these sound packs, and they think that they could use all these little noises and vocal things, and then you read the fine print on the sound pack, and then they want publishing and they want a fee for using these little bleeps and little sounds or whatever, you know, sample that they use. And then it's like, dang, it's hard to replay these things. Sometimes you try to replay it and it loses the feel.
Don't sound the same, man.
Then you just stuck. So then it's like, damn, you know, we're going to do Leak It. We can't just put out Lucy's with Dre. So it's like, okay, I guess we got to make a new song. And we tried that too with a few other songs where it was like, we had an issue. We had Madlib on the album, and, you know, it was like, you know, something I wanted to do. You know, the album's called Oxnard. We wanted Madlib on there. And it was just, you know, running into issues. If it's not samples, it's about, you know, people wanting, you know, their fees or what they think they should get, and, you know, people's managements and all these different things. You got people butting heads and stuff, so it's hard to please everybody. Sometimes it's deeper than the samples, and then you're just like, forget it. We'll just put this song on ice and move to the next thing.
People be like, I'll release it, but I just need Dr. Dre to give me a beat or...
Yeah, it's like,
try to
he
barter
got
that.
plenty to choose from, so it's like, all right, well...
But he don't be giving them beats up.
No, you don't be giving them songs and
Dre
beats.
got so many songs, man.
Yeah,
He
he got
is
a
not
lot.
giving them up. That's why
So
this
many
is
songs.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
And listen, clearly he still is able to help put together a great body of work.
There you go.
Yeah. This was, I feel like, you know, one of the albums that he really worked closely on, you know, probably since, like, you know, working with him on his first stuff. He was involved from start to finish, from production to writing to engineering, and mixing, even to, like, you know, like you said, picking out the singles, everything. We were really working hand in hand. So it was a dope experience for me to really just work with someone like that.
People have to understand how big a deal that is because he does not
Yeah.
do that. So he must. And I saw that he showed up with Karen Civil.
I seen it, the interview
for
with
you
Karen
guys
Civil.
to
That's
do
dope.
that.
Shout out to
I
Karen
was like,
Civil.
wow.
Came to the hometown, brought him to Oxnard Rec Center. We was in there wilding. He had the red cup on stage, going crazy, feeling good, you know what I'm saying? So that's like really the big homie. Like, you
That's
know,
dope.
like he's having fun, genuinely having fun. And I know he's like seeing everything, and it feels good for him, you know, to be a part of this and to see how the people are responding to it. And
It's got to inspire him to be like, I got to do more now. Because
yeah.
Hopefully.
This is working out so well.
Yeah, and it's like you say, he don't have to do nothing. It's
At
like
all.
you just do whatever feels good, and that was like the biggest lesson, you know, saying you do what feels good, what feels right. So I feel like that's what he's feeling after this album for sure.
Are you going on tour?
Yeah, we're going on tour. It starts at the end of December. We're gonna do, we start in Australia, and then
Who's we?
I'll probably not talk about the rest. But it's just gonna be us. We did like so many tours before, opening for J. Cole and Bruno Mars, and we did Beyonce, and then we did a gang of festivals. But it's like now we have to do our own
Doing your
tours.
own tour now, right?
Hard ticket sales. Got to see what we can do. Pull up,
Get that merch.
just us, and maybe one little homie. Get the merch cracking. We got the merch now.
Might as well hire your son.
Exactly. Gonna bring his little big head on
he knows how to
tour.
do all that.
Keep track of the room
And plus,
keys.
and you need him to turn on the TV in the hotel.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, keep me on schedule, wake me up, everything, man. Yeah, we definitely gonna have to bring Little Knucklehead on tour.
Well, we
Yeah.
appreciate you for joining us, man. The album is out right now, Oxnard. Make sure you pick it up. And don't be a stranger, man.
I'm here, man. Tell Charlamagne what happened to him.
He's in South Africa.
Oh, word?
Johannesburg, South Africa.
Out there with
for-
Kanye. That's what's up.
You
No,
know
no,
it.
no,
That's
yeah.
crazy, man.
He's
Not
giving
this
away.
time.
He's
Not
giving
this
away
time.
Yeezys in South
I
Africa.
know
right
it.
now.
He got him over there lacing up Yeezys. That's what's up. Appreciate y'all, man.
It's Anderson Paak. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.